This week on Supercars Talk, Triple8 has lost its Newcastle disqualification appeal. You won't be able to go down to your local Holden dealer in 2024 and buy a brand new Camaro, and there's racing on at Albert Park this weekend. The big news this week is that Triple8 has lost its disqualification appeal from race 1 in Newcastle. We all know by now they put the icebox in the wrong position. They said they got permission to do it. Obviously they didn't. That's why they got disqualified. The big question I have from this though is, did Adrian Burgess actually give them permission, or is it a misunderstanding or something? Yeah. Somewhere the truth is out there, who knows. My worry with all this though as well is, apparently this has been happening with the build of the Gen 3 cars. There's been a bit like, oh, we're not 100% sure, but yeah, go ahead with that. How much of that has actually happened, and is that just with the Triple8 builds, or is that with other builds out there? Do all the other teams know about this, like, oh, they mounted that in the wrong position, or is it just certain teams doing things kind of not quite to the book? Yeah, there's, I suppose it raises a lot more questions than what there are answers at the moment. It came out this week that Chev will be stopping production of the Chev Camaro in, I think it's January 2024. So you won't be able to go down to your local Chev dealer and order a new one after January 2024. Yeah, okay, so there's no Chev dealers here. You can't buy a Camaro. Not sure how this really affects, other than that is the race car that we have got. Supercars have come out and said that we will be racing the Chev Camaro for the next 3 years. That's how long, end of 2025 it's homologated to. You can continue racing it for that amount of time. Now, that's a long time. Chev will probably have a product in place. By then, the production of the Camaro will be, the current Camaro will be stopping early next year, but then there's time for a new model to come out. Now, there is a bit of a rumour that it will be an electric vehicle. If it's still a two-door kind of sporty car that fits within, you know, similar kind of size to the Mustang, at some point the Mustang will probably go all electric as well. As much as we don't want to hear that, that's the way things are going, unfortunately. So there is still time for a Camaro to come out. If it's an electric car that's sold in America that you cannot buy here, who cares if we chuck a V8 in it to go racing with it? Yeah, gone are the days where win on Sunday, sell on Monday. Nowadays, it's purely a branding exercise, or possibly even just a pure racing kind of exercise. And to all the people who, oh, back in the old days when you could go and buy the cars, just have a look at the Group A field. You know, back in the late 80s, early 90s, realistically within Australia, the only car you could go and buy that was racing is the Holden Commodores. The other, like Ford Sierra, you could not get here. They brought in 100 GTR 32s, the R31 there. You couldn't buy a two-door car here. They were all private import ones. It just hasn't been, even like you go to, you know, Project Blueprint and that, the cars were totally different to what was being, you know, sold on the showroom floor. Yeah, you could go and buy a V8 Commodore and Falcon, but the cars were totally different. And the issue is people stopped buying Commodores and Falcons, and that's why production left Australia. If we were all buying the cars that were racing, well, there'd still be people producing cars here, but no, we all go and buy SUVs. I'm guilty of it. My garage right now has 2 SUVs in it. Yeah, I've fallen victim to what everyone else is doing. Yeah, something I said would never happen, and yeah, me and my wife have now both got SUVs, so we're part of the problem, not part of the cure. I would love to have a Camaro, but yeah, practicality comes into it. But do I want to see SUVs racing? No, I would much prefer to see a two-door kind of sporty car looking thing out there racing. You know, you can go and buy things like that. I don't care if they're not available here. I just want to see cool looking cars going racing and close, you know, racing. Not, I don't want to see little hatchbacks that I don't care about racing. Yeah, so at least Stick a who cares if it's an electric car on the market, stick a V8 in it and off we go racing. It's cool. But down in the comments, let me know, do you agree? Do you think it's really important that the cars actually match what you can go and buy, or do they just have to kind of look like a cool car that, you know, even like a poster kind of car? I don't care, even, you know, Walkinshaw brings in 100 of them and converts them or whatever. You could potentially go and buy them. Yeah. Let me know what you think. So there is racing on at Albert Park this weekend. There's also some big event going on. I think the Red Bull racing show, something like that, where Max Verstappen is kind of going to win anyway. Unless he has a drive shaft failure in qualifying. But good news for us Supercars fans, the races will be longer than what were originally advertised. Don't get too excited though, we're not talking about big enduro or anything. So 4 races over the weekend. They were supposed to be 19, 15 and then 2 13 lap races. Now we will see 22, 17 and 2 14 lap races. Yeah, the weekend schedule will be 2 30-minute practices on Thursday, followed by 2 15-minute qualifying sessions and 1 22 lap race. Friday we'll see 1 17 lap race. Saturday 2 15-minute qualifying sessions and 1 14 lap race. Sunday 1 14 lap race. So Friday 17 laps only, Sunday 14 laps only. Yeah, this brings up the usual, do we really want to be at the Grand Prix? Of course we want to be there because it's the biggest stage of the year for all the sponsors and that. You get all of those casual fans kind of watching it. Supercars usually kind of pretty good racing. Cars look cool, you know, it draws attention from people who aren't, you know, motorsport fans that are at the Grand Prix. The big thing this year though is normally Supercars has to play second fiddle to Formula One. This year F2 and F3 are there, so are we playing second, third, fourth fiddle down the, you know, should we really be, you know, playing that far down the schedule kind of thing? Would Supercars be better off? Like Queensland Raceway, Winton, both missing out rounds this year to kind of go to the Grand Prix and not have much action. There is a lot of track time, but a lot of it being stuck on Thursday where there won't be a lot of fans there. Could we walk away from it? The other thing as well, did we really need, I'm sure F2 and F3 came as a full package, or else you would have just signed up F2. Yeah, because F3 is taking a lot of that time away where you could be putting supercars. Yeah, the whole support is F1, F2, F3, Supercars, and then Carrera Cup is the only other one. No one else gets a look in there. My little proposal for all of this though is, say Supercars forgoes Sunday, says, yep, okay, we won't hassle anything on Sunday, we won't get involved in that, but they have a bit more practice, a bit more qualifying in that on the Thursday. Friday, we, you know, can, there's a midday kind of sprint race that's already in there. Then Friday afternoon, I keep going to go Saturday, thinking it's the first day racing. Friday afternoon, we have the little sprint race, and then Friday kind of evening, there's a Carrera Cup race in there. We scrap that, they can go somewhere else over the weekend, and we have like a big proper kind of race, you know, maybe 25 laps or so, have a proper pit stop. The one in the middle of the day, that doesn't even need to have a pit stop. That can be a full on, just, you know, sprint, even if it is you kind of 10 laps or whatever, just to sprint, get it over in the middle of the day, see a bit of racing, wait to the end of the day, see a bit longer race where we have a pit stop, etc. Then Saturday afternoon, currently on the schedule, we have Supercars and then Porsche Cup, Carrera Cup right at the end of the day. Carrera Cup, they can shift somewhere else, and Supercars gets a big kind of hour and a half, hour and 45 minute kind of, not an enduro, but, you know, 200 kilometers of racing, something like that. Like a, you know, something that the guys can really kind of get their teeth into, possibly even have it set up that it could be like a 2-stop race, and then go, right, Sunday's just the open wheelers, Carrera Cup, we've stolen a bit of your thunder, you know, on the Friday and Saturday. You can have a feature race race for you guys on the Sunday with, you know, all of the corporate people that turn up on Sunday. You can get in front of that. But Supercars have had, you know, after Formula 1 qualifying on the Saturday, then Supercars has their big event race for the weekend that, you know, people then hang around and watch that after, you know, the main kind of, in general, people are there to see the Formula 1. Supercar, no matter how you look at it, they are playing second fiddle, but at least they get a big event in there, you know, something the fans can really get their teeth stuck into. These races, especially kind of a 13, 14 lap race, it kind of starts and then it's over. It's like bedtime fun for most of us, you know. You get all excited, it starts and then it's over. Anyway, over the week, predictions for this year. So last year, Shane Van Gisbergen and Chaz Mostert took 2 wins each. Reynolds and the DJR boys were the main guys kind of on the podium there. I'd expect it to be pretty similar this year. Obviously, Cam Waters, who had a shocker there last year, I expect him to be somewhere in the fight. Shane Van Gisbergen is probably going to win everything. Big questions for me before going into the weekend though, will the DJR boys, will they spring back or will that Newcastle form continue over? And then also, will Erebus and Premier, will they have the same kind of form that they had in Newcastle and be right up the front, or was that a bit of a flash in the pan thing? But if I had to, I'm not going to predict Shane Van Gisbergen because that's too easy. I'm going to predict Dave Reynolds and Chaz Mostert to be fighting out for the wins. So yeah, down in the comments, let me know who you think is going to win over the weekend, and is it important that you can physically go and buy the cars that we are racing, or do you just want to see cool looking cars going racing? I plan to be at the Grand Prix on Thursday and Friday as well. So if you see me mulling around the pits or anything, you know, come and give me a shout out, come and say hi. It's always great to have a chat to the fans, but enjoy the racing on the weekend. Until next time, I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.